Rules for Patriots. Rule number 7, don't be predictable. An off-balance opponent is easier to defeat than a prepared opponent. If you are predictable, your political opponent has time to prepare and you are easier to defeat. In addition, your opponent does not have to use effort and energy retooling to combat you. They can use their energy to go on offense. If you are shifting your tactics, shifting your focus, throwing red herrings into the mix, being unpredictable in your timing, they cannot adjust quickly enough to mount an effective defense. A beneficial part of being unpredictable is forcing your opponent to play defense more often. The more time they are playing defense, the less often they can go on offense. Let's face it, they are better at offense. They are not better at defense per se, but they do have some structural defenses that we have to overcome. They have the media, for example. If you go on offense with a tactic that requires public awareness, all the media has to do is not report on it and your tactic is defeated. Worse, they can have Twitter, Facebook, and Google ban you or shadow ban you. There are two pretty solid defenses that seem impervious to Patriot tactics, so why be predictable and try the same approach when it has a 99% chance of failure? Have you considered tactics that they are not expecting? Are you being unpredictable? Have you considered legal challenges? If you win a legal battle, it cannot be ignored by the left. You can share with your side the legal outcome so that they can bring it to the attention of whomever is needed when the left are violating the law as established by a legal challenge. Or, simply tying up their resources in court with frivolous lawsuits could be a tactic. Yes, it is a waste of money, but it is also a waste of time for your opponent having to defend themselves. It is certainly something Patriots are not known to do, and it would come with an element of surprise. Have you considered boycotts? Free markets are something we encourage as conservatives. It's fundamental. Conservatives typically are anti-boycott. You don't have to buy this product, but you don't have the right to stop others from buying it. True. But you do have a right to share information and share your opinion. And a boycott is merely organizing like-minded people into a common response, so we should not be above switching from Coke to Pepsi when Coke rolls out training sessions for employees on how to be less white and ascribes only negative traits to whiteness. That's racist. The left doesn't stand for it. Why should we stand for it when they are doing exactly what they accuse us of doing? Except they are actually doing it. Coke's anti-white training is racist in that it is ascribing traits to a race of people in a blanket fashion, based merely on nothing more than skin color. We can all agree that racism is evil. So is a boycott not fighting something evil? Or at least something fundamentally wrong? It's done en masse individually. Will it matter as much as a public campaign or an ad in the LA Times asking conservatives to stop drinking Coke? The negative publicity is just as important as the actual boycott. There's the bottom line impact, the dollars. And there's the optics of the situation. Visibility matters, and we have so little visibility. Being visible amplifies the effectiveness. It also makes it easier to be more unpredictable. This week we are boycotting Coke, next week we shift our attention to Comcast. Meanwhile, Coke still has to deal with the ongoing fallout of the boycott. But we've moved on. This is a tactic that works for the left, even if it is not explicitly codified. Perhaps Alinsky sort of covered it tangentially. The left has so many targets that they are unpredictable by unintentional design. They seem to be aimless. The thing is, they know their targets, they lob political grenades and move on without worry. I know on the right we don't like boycotts, but they work. Why are so many companies woke now? It's fear. We do not weaponize fear. The left does. Using organized boycotts more often would in itself be unexpected of us and thus unpredictable, at least initially. Political jiu-jitsu is something I talked about years ago. Using your opponent's strength or momentum against him is something to consider. How about attending a liberal march or gathering and finding an area of common ground and then using it to get signatures on a petition? Or using it to get cash donations for your organization? It's a bit misleading, but when you are facing an existential threat, you have to be willing to play a little dirty. And it's not even entirely dirty. Let me give you an example. Both the left and the right hate oligopoly-style capitalism. Go to a progressive rally and solicit donations for an effort to get the government to crack down on corporate abuse of individual rights. Then leverage that support to go after Google or Twitter for deplatforming conservative voices. You're doing what you both commonly oppose. Or even using the support to fight for an actual common goal, but doing so in a way that suits your end game, not theirs. Still on the notion of political jiu-jitsu, have you tried playing the victim? The left love defending and supporting anyone who claims victimhood. So why not find a cause that, again, tangentially, they would have to come to your defense? Get them to create a donation page for you. Obviously, you'll have to be creative to do so because you don't want it to become some sort of legal issue with improper solicitation. Keep in mind these tactics might work a few times before becoming easy to spot, i.e. predictable. So, you'll have to stop it after a while and perhaps circle back to it in a few years. The key here is unpredictability. I'm talking about doing things the left does not expect of you. I'm not suggesting breaking the law. I am suggesting doing things we don't do, even things the left hasn't tried. Don't rely on them, but make them part of your arsenal. And then keep changing them up. And keep coming up with out-of-the-box ideas to try. Have you tried pitting one group of progressives against another? Find an area of clear disagreement between two intersected groups that are pushing a progressive agenda. Find a way to use this situation as a wedge issue. About 10 years ago, I was blogging that conservatives should avoid wedge issues. That was meant as a defensive argument. On offense, you can create a battle between socialists and environmentalists, for example, because of a wedge issue. It opens up so many opportunities. You are getting an enemy to fight a battle for you. You don't need to fight that battle. There's an opportunity to pick off, red pill, and convert some disaffected people in those groups and educate them into becoming allies. Marching. Patriots have tried organizing rallies and marches with some degree of success since back in the Tea Party days. But it has not been hugely successful. In the beginning we were lied about. Later many were physically attacked, without any mainstream media acknowledgement. And most recently not ignored but lied about. Think of the January 6th quote attack on the Capitol unquote, and the lies they told about President Trump inciting the violence. Marching is a tactic that hasn't worked well. Not for us. Black Lives Matter with its communist roots, and Antifa with its Nazi roots, both get a free pass. So, what to do? We have two options: make our marches too big to fail, or stop them, not just ours, theirs. Too big to fail would mean tens of millions of people. That's not going to happen. Not right now. So that leaves the alternative: stop progressive marches. How do you do that peacefully? Find out about upcoming progressive marches and discredit them before they even get started. Make them known before the left is ready for them to be known, and define them before they can define the cause themselves. That's politics. Define your enemy before they can define themselves. Make the argument that these are violent radicals, they hate America, there will be a significant criminal element in attendance. Whatever it takes. You're not lying about a person, you are actively discrediting an organized effort that you know is bad for your country. Unpredictability requires getting your hands dirty. It requires playing hardball, not using the Marquis of Queensberry rules when your opponent is slinging mud. You can get a little dirty and still be principled. It's a slippery slope the left fell down a long time ago. But as long as you are aware of how far you can go, and still be considered the good guys, it's okay. The advantage of being unpredictable is that if a tactic is starting to go too far, it's probably time to change tactics anyway.